Thank you. Mr. Jordan of Ohio is recognized for 5 minutes.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Mr. Olson, are you juicing the numbers?
I'm not sure what you're referring to.
Well, you talked all about your opening statement about the number of domestic terrorism threats. We've had multiple whistleblowers come to our office and tell us that they're being pressured to categorize cases as domestic terrorist threats that aren't. And I'm just wondering, because it was the opening of your statement, most of your statement, you talked about this new office. You feel, are you juicing the numbers?
So I'm not aware of the references you're making to the whistleblowers.
The Department of Justice is supposed to protect Americans. Now it seems they're targeting them. Parents, the very people who care most about their children's education, are under scrutiny. Their offense? Daring to speak up at school board meetings? This is a blatant attempt to silence dissent. The DOJ is morphing into a weapon of intimidation.
I can tell you is that the intelligence community has assessed that the threat we face from domestic violent extremism is elevated, and that's consistent with what I see on a daily basis.
Who is Timothy T-Bolt?
I'm sorry, I don't know that name.
You don't know that name? Mr. Grassley does. Mr. Grassley cited in his letter. Mr. Gates brought him up in his 5 minutes of questioning. Mr. T-Bolt's a guy who suppressed information that was verifiable about Hunter Biden in 2020. You don't know who this individual is?
I'm sorry, I don't know who that is.
You know what's also interesting about this individual? He's the guy that the whistleblowers told us is pressuring them to recategorize the cases as domestic terrorism cases. And you don't know anything about him.
I do not.
All right, well, I guess that maybe stands to reason.
The Biden administration is using the DOJ for its own political ends. Parents are rightfully concerned about what their children are being taught. Instead of addressing these concerns, the government is trying to silence them. This is a dangerous precedent. When parents are afraid to speak out, our democracy suffers. This is not about keeping schools safe. This is about controlling the narrative. The DOJ is sending a clear message: step out of line, and we will come after you. This is a chilling development for any American who values free speech.
I find that interesting. How many more parents has the Department of Justice investigated?
The Justice Department and the FBI investigate individuals who commit acts of violence or threats of violence.
I'm talking in relative to the
federal
school board
crimes.
issue. How many more parents have you investigated? We know of 20-some, over 24, because again, we've had other whistleblowers come forward and tell us about that. I mean, the number, it's almost like it's a well-worn trail of FBI agents coming as whistleblowers to our office because so many things that they're concerned about going on at the Justice Department. So we know of over 24. I want to know how many more have you done since we sent that letter 2 months ago to the Justice Department?
Olson was evasive. He claimed the DOJ wasn't targeting parents. His denials rang hollow. Olson couldn't even provide basic information. How many parents were investigated? What were the specific allegations? Olson had no answers. This only deepened suspicions. The DOJ is hiding something. Jordan pressed Olson on the DOJ task force. This task force was created to address threats against school boards, but its true purpose seems more sinister. Is it being used to target parents who simply disagree with school policies? Olson's evasiveness speaks volumes. The American people deserve transparency. The DOJ's lack of cooperation is unacceptable. Jordan is right to shine a light on this abuse of power. The Biden administration must be held accountable.